Had to crack the whip a few times on her.
No, literally, Kelly, who
She's
needs
getting
Food
it.
Network? Who needs Food Network when you got Chef and Beth?
The only thing I didn't do is follow with that one woman.
Miranda,
Yeah, I need to.
I introduced myself, so I just reached out and said, hey,
Oh, good, you
I'm
did?
Chef, yeah, I heard that you're looking to
What she said?
elevate. She's like, I'd love to meet you guys and we can do, so. Trying to set something up for lunch, just to.
Good.
Meet and greet, and see what her envision, so to speak, so.
Oh, good, I'm glad you did, because I did it. I was super busy.
It's not
Can you
bad.
log in to make sure you can hear
Well,
the video?
You're not wrong.
It'll always be.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that, 'cause
That's a good thing.
it is a good thing, right?
That's what we always say. We're busy and, well, I'd rather be saying that than complaining that we're not.
Well, and my philosophy is if you work hard, your life is easy. So,
Can you hear?
Things that you end up worrying about, right?
Exactly. All right, now I got iron business here.
Okay, I'm spotlighted for everybody, correct? Okay, perfect.
Why have my list of attendees? Thank you, thank you. Oh,
Where's your
I
list?
need the list with where they're. That's over there. So I'll bring it up at the end. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chef Night.
Hey, good evening, everyone. How we doing?
Chef Night hosted by the Ryder Elite Team. I'm Beth Ryder, and with me is Chef Jude.
Hello, and of course, Steve Ryder.
Thank you all for joining. We are very excited. Tonight we're going to have our strawberry burrata spinach salad, which would be nice and light.
Welcome the warm months that are coming, right?
Absolutely.
It's starting to
It's
get
already-
hot
it's
out
already-
there. Holy moly. Although today was perfect.
It actually was perfect today.
Yep.
You're not wrong.
And tomorrow too. So we're gonna show you guys mise en place, get everything ready, show you what we're gonna do. Cause I've never made a pita.
So I'm super excited because we're gonna make pitas, fresh made pitas, right?
Fresh.
It's like a tortilla, but a little bit thicker, and the ingredients are slightly different. Right?
Wonderful.
So we have to let it rise a little bit, unlike a tortilla where it's just straight dough. This one has yeast in it, so we need to elevate it some, so it gives it the body that it typically has.
spectacular.
Just like the body that it typically has. right?
I'm not really good when it comes to that kind of stuff. I was making that roux last week.
Yes.
And I put it in the oven just to kind of keep it warm.
Uh-huh.
Turned into a biscuit.
Oh.
Looks
So
like
I'm
it
not a
happened.
good baker. Let him show you how to do it.
All right, then we added a little bit of chicken, so we're gonna have a little bit of a protein with our dinner as well. So let's get cooking.
Let's get cooking, Beth, shall we?
All right,
So
excited
first
about
and foremost, mise en place, right? Making sure
Absolutely.
everything is in its place. Today we have our oven on. That's gonna be for our chicken tenders.
Okay, what are we setting it on?
I got ours at 450, just because it's a quick flash. We're gonna broil them real quick. We'll sear in a pan, throw them on a sheet pan. We'll execute. They're only gonna take like 6 minutes, so that's how fast that process is.
Perfect.
We need a large fry pan like this. If it's shorter walled, that's perfectly okay. If it's a flat pan, that's perfectly okay as well. We just need something that's large enough to hold our pita, because our disc is gonna be slightly just smaller than that. So we wanna think about that being able to fit in our pan, okay?
Gotcha. Is it better to have it where it's nonstick
Yeah, it's.
if you have it?
If you have like an all clad pan, might be a little difficult. You're gonna need a little more oil and a slight lower temperature, but you should be able to execute the pita relatively the same. It might stick at first, but as soon as it starts to cook, it'll free itself and it should be okay.
Perfect.
So the non-stick would be preferable for that, just because this will allow it the dough not to adhere to the hot pan so much. So if it does, we'll turn our heat down and then we'll be able to go from there.
Wonderful.
All right.
All right,
So,
let's switch.
When we
now.
get started here, we have lots of stuff going on. We have stuff for our salad. We have stuff for our pita. We have ingredients for our dressing, because we are gonna make a homemade strawberry balsamic dressing for our salad.
Great.
So first things first.
And what are we gonna do with the chicken? Because everybody does have a little bit of chicken.
So what I've done, everyone's got chicken tenderloins, I do believe. All I did was I pulled them out, I rinsed them off. The reason I left them naked, meaning no seasoning yet, because we are gonna allow you to dive into your pantry and season the way that you would like. I know our spice cabinet here has a plethora of a variety. So therefore, we're gonna be able to identify exactly what we're looking for to pair well with all these other ingredients, okay? That's why I left them like this, so we
So
are
get
able
it
to
ready.
show the class. Dive in there, don't be afraid, but what's gonna go with what? Be a great opportunity for people to say what they have in their cabinet that we could say yay or maybe not.
Oh, that's a great
with that
idea.
one, right?
So that's kind of coming up. So think about that and make sure your chicken's in the fridge.
Yep, so all I did was pull them out of the package, just rinse them off really quick, got them on a plate, keeping them safe.
Like that, they can say. All right.
So first and foremost, what we want to do is I was chopping up our herbs, so our fresh herbs, we're gonna put some of this into our pita dough. So what I was doing is the parsley, I pulled off all the large stems. So we wanna take all those off. Unlike cilantro, these things are really hardy, right? So they're not gonna break down very well. So there'll always be that really hard crunch to it. And then I got our rosemary leaves that I was just taking right off the stem here. And we are gonna wanna chop these relatively fine. So this one's pretty simple. If you hold it where it's pretty firm, you can just rip them off like such, real simple.
Yeah.
Same thing with the thyme. You gotta be a little more delicate with that, just because of its stem is not as strong as the other one. The stems of the thyme, as long as they're not super tough, like these ones are real flimsy, they'll chop up nicely. But we are just trying to only get the leaves in there, because that's all we're wanting. We don't want a whole bunch of stems going into our pita, because we are gonna put some of these fresh herbs into the dough, and then we're gonna make a butter to brush when it's all
Ooh,
done.
that sounds great.
Yeah, so we wanna chop these up finely. So we'll get these all cleaned up, and I'll show you my method of madness for the parsley here, because that one always seems to be tough when you have a big bunch of herbs like that. People get afraid of how do I chop it, and they just want to start hacking at it right away, right? But there's a way that you can break it down even faster, and I'll show you in just a second here. For these, I'm just gonna put them together because we're gonna chop them all pretty fine, should be okay. So I've never made pita at home before.
Oh, I was just gonna ask everybody, I was gonna say, how many people kind of avoid making something with yeast? I mean, I know I do, it's usually, I feel like it takes a little bit of time, maybe I wouldn't have that kind of time, but, you can use a pita with so many types of
Oh
dishes.
my goodness, it goes on and on and on and on. You can stuff it, you can use it like a flatbread, I mean, almost like a pizza, so it's healthier for you. I don't know about by much, but it's something.
It
Just because
sounds
it's
fun.
not so much dough, right? So
Right.
as a pizza dough, there's a lot more flour, which turns into starch, which turns into sugar, which is not good for the body, so.
Right,
Keeping all that stuff out is what the goal is, so the pita would be a healthier version of it.
I love it.
So then, basically, we'll start off with the parsley first. So what I do is I get my parsley all in a bundle like this, and then I pinch it all together, and I kind of roll it all together. So then that way, it's all bound up together. See how it's all nice and tight like that?
Yes, absolutely.
So that way, I can start to chop. And it's like breaking it down so much faster. And then when it loosens up a little bit, recrumple it back together. Keep your thumb out of there, because that one, you'll get in there quickly, that's for sure. So when mincing, it's all about changing direction, moving it around, and making as many cuts as possible. The closer you make the cut, the more cuts you make, the smaller the chop becomes. So you really want to work that. You don't want to work it so much so that all that moisture, so you can see how it's starting to get wet. See that?
Yeah,
That's a good consistency right there. We'll take some of these outside leaves and chop those up too. So like I was saying, you really want to keep the stems out of this one, because all we want is the leaves of it. You don't want that big old fibrous stem in the pita.
Absolutely.
You don't want to catch a chunk of that. Have it sticking out your teeth while you're having mid conversation, right?
that would not be
No,
great.
you don't want that. So
Especially for all of our people over there that are having a party tonight.
I
I
might- it
love
might-
that.
it might make good conversation.
Yes, it
but
might.
You don't want to do that to you. So same thing with this one. This one's gonna be a little more difficult because it's all loose. We can't bunch it up together like we can the parsley, but same thing is, we're gonna want to make as many cuts as we possibly can. So as close together as possible, while trying to keep it all tight as we can without losing our thumb tip or our fingertips. And then once you get it in, you can go one way. And then go the other way. Looks pretty well chopped there, I would say. Couple big ones in the end here, we'll get those.
And it smells so fresh
Oh
to
my
me.
goodness.
I mean, the difference, there is absolutely no comparison to fresh herbs versus what you're getting out of your.
Dry spices.
Oh,
right.
it's so different. So, I mean, just the flavor, the smell, everything is so, just so much.
So
better.
much better, right?
So much
All
better.
right, now that we got our herbs chopped, what we're gonna wanna do is I have 1/3 cup of milk and 1/3 cup of water. We're gonna want to warm this, so we don't want it to get hot,
Okay.
but we're gonna wanna warm this because we need to activate the yeast. The important piece is with warm liquid helps activate this quickly.
So how many seconds on the microwave?
We're gonna start with, I would say 1 minute for
Oh,
what
1
we
minute?
have right here, yeah. Cause I
That
think,
seems like it would be pretty warm.
right,
But
it'll be.
it's warm enough.
It'll be warm, it won't be like hot, but it will be warm, and that's really what we're trying to accomplish with that. So while that's coming together, we can get our bowl for our flour.
Perfect. And I know we have 9 groups out there having dinner at Trilogy tonight, so thank you all for
Hi,
joining.
Trilogy folks.
I know, I got to meet all of you when you picked up your bags this week, so that was really fun, and we're excited to have you guys.
So we're gonna need some flour, some salt. What was our other dry ingredient? That was it for that one. So while that's warming, we're gonna weigh out our dry ingredients. We're gonna need 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And this is where I'm not the patient one is. As you guys know, my measuring cup will right off the eye. But this one, we gotta be a little more precise. Can it be slightly off? Yes, as far as the dry ingredients.
But it should be pretty close.
It's, yeah, pretty precise is what we want. Just because if it's too doughy, it won't get airy enough, and if it's too watery, it won't be tacky enough to create the dough that we're trying to create. So that 1 minute was long enough.
Perfect.
We're gonna want to take our yeast. 1 tablespoon. Is that what this is? We're gonna get a fork. We can leave the fork. I'm gonna grab us a fork bath.
We always,
Give that a little whisk.
we always like it when we're trying something that the chef hasn't made yet.
I love to make everything I haven't made yet. So in fact, tomorrow I am doing a Passover Seder lunch for some of my residents, and I've never made any traditional Jewish, well, can't say that. Anything this specific of the Jewish religion that it has to be so precise in order for it to be true for them. It's not gonna be kosher, and we know that, so that's okay. Okay, so we'll let that sit there and activate for a second. This guy, we're gonna flour, salt. We're just gonna take our fork, dry it off. We're gonna wanna whisk this together to incorporate our salt in there. We're gonna add some of our dry spice into here. So mix this up nicely, make sure it's combined.
Okay, good idea.
I'm only gonna take probably about slight pinch. Let's start with that. So I would say that was like just shy of a tablespoon. If you filled up a tablespoon, you'd probably be pretty accurate. But as I stir that around, I can see that was a good number, right? So nice and light mixture in there, as you see. So it's not too much, right?
Yep.
So that we will be able to get those fresh herbs when we take a bite of that pita.
So we have Kelly manning the chat box tonight. Kelly, do we have any chats? Anybody put something in the chat box? Do you guys have any questions?
Wendy Parks said, I love the smell of yeast.
Oh.
Of yeast.
Yeast. Interesting.
Yes, fresh baked bread is delicious.
Yes, it is.
I must say so myself. Okay, so now that we have this going, we have our dry ingredients. We're gonna we need some olive oil. Which is,
That's avocado. Can we use that?
it's gonna work just fine.
Perfect.
So this one's gonna be into here, 2 tablespoons. So we're gonna add this guy, your wet ingredients. Sure, we get those little yeasts in there. So to knead, right? So all we're gonna do is slowly mix it together, just so that it incorporates, and then we'll be able to mix it with our hands. So that it turns into dough-like, like bread dough, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be a soggy mess, which is okay. We need to add a touch more oil. Add a little bit, yeah. Go. There we go.
So what did you see that what made you want to add more oil? Did it look a little sticky?
Not sticky enough.
Not sticky enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
so now that I add that, you can see that it's a
Okay.
more, it has more of
Stickiness?
elasticity to it. Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's what we were looking for. And the reason we want that is so when we go to make it, that oil that's already in there is gonna help it from not sticking to the pan. So that's the purpose of it.
Perfect.
So I'd say we're incorporated, pretty much well mixed together. So what we're gonna want to do here is we're gonna want to cover this in plastic, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so want to grab some plastic and I want to cover it. And then we're gonna want to put a kitchen towel over it. So that way we trap in the moisture the best of the ability, but then also we eliminate the light. Because the light kills.
I always wondered
The
why you
yeast.
added the towel. I thought it was the keeping the heat in or the warmth in, but it's the light.
Well, twofold, right? So insulates so that way it will keep it in, but then light does or can kill the yeast.
Interesting. All right, I love that. So now we sit on that.
While that's going, we can go ahead and get started on our dressings. We're gonna need our balsamic, our oil, a little bit of mustard, a little bit of honey. We're gonna need a pinch of salt for the oil. And then we're gonna need some strawberries. So half a cup roughly. Just gonna take a couple of these guys. So I'm just gonna rough chop them, just so that way we don't have to blend too much in our little food processor there. Have you ever made a dressing at home before, Beth?
I have not. Have you guys outside there?
Yeah, how about anyone? Has anyone made any dressings at home themselves? Tried to make Caesar dressing?
I have not. Anybody else try?
So Caesar dressing is only 7 ingredients.
7.
Mhm.
That seems like a lot.
Yeah, I
For
guess.
what I would consider simple, but maybe not so simple.
And it's the most fattening dressing you can.
Oh, great.
Don't tell anyone.
Quiet. That's what people order. They like the Caesar.
Delicious. So we got our strawberries chopped.
Someone said that they make Italian dressing.
Italian dressings, one. Pretty simple. Balsamic dressings, pretty simple. You can blend it like we're gonna do today, or just shake it in a bottle and you're good to go. This one that we're gonna make is actually gonna be a permanent emulsification, right? So Italian dressing would be a temporary emulsification, which means when you shake it, all the ingredients combine together. When you let it set, they then separate the ingredients and the oil, right?
Right.
So temporary. Permanent emulsification means once we make it, it'll stay in that consistency forever. Unless we add heat to it, then it'll separate.
What's the agent that makes it stick together? Is there something
Mustard.
literally?
Literally, this is the combining
interesting.
agent or egg yolk in
Okay,
Caesar dressing.
that would
okay.
make sense.
Yeah,
Because right, Caesar dressing does not break apart.
right. Mayonnaise, egg yolk. That's what helps it stay combined for infinity unless we add heat to it and then it separates.
Interesting.
So a little Dijon mustard will be that piece to that. So we got our strawberry. How much honey are we adding in here? 2 tablespoons.
And then 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard.
Okay. Make sure you shake it up. Don't get it all over there. Teaspoon.
1. Yeah, virgin olive oil, 1/4 cup.
1/4 cup. On the side so we can see it.
3 tablespoons balsamic.
So when you're making a vinaigrette, it's 3 parts oil, 1 part vinegar. So that's exactly what we just did. We did 3 parts oil and 1 part vinegar. And if you want a little
It
more,
would make sense because vinegar goes a long way.
yeah, super. I was gonna just say, so it's definitely, if you want it to be more pungent, by all means, add more. If you want it to be less, by all means, add less, right?
Okay, and then we have lemon,
Oh yeah, and then a little tiny bit of salt,
salt and pepper to taste.
and then our lemon's gonna be,
It says 1.
yeah, so basically gonna.
Less the seed. Teaspoon.
I'm a good fisher, I just can't fish very well. I'll do. So do the cut trick. The hand strainer, as I call it. And then we're gonna lid it. We're gonna pulse it at first so we can break the strawberries up, okay? What we're wanting to do is we're wanting to let them rise, let them fall, let them rise, let them fall. So if we continuously did it, the ones that stayed up here would never fall, and then we'd just be sitting there spinning, spinning, spinning. So the reason we pulse first is so that we can try to break them up as much as possible at first. So then when we go to do the full blend like this, that way it makes.
Taken care of.
Yeah, so we'll take a look.
That's
to
a
see.
great little trick. I never would have known that.
So then we have that nice smooth consistency of dressing that we're looking for.
Okay, that looks delicious.
Smells good too. So this time we can now set aside. So yeah, this we're gonna put right here for a second because we're gonna marinate our strawberries, so to speak. All right, so as we learned over the four seasons.
I know, is that crazy?
As we've learned over our 4 seasons, we always want to think about application. What is our dish gonna look like? How big do we chop what? Where are we going with it? What's the outcome, right?
Mhm.
With our strawberries. When we're putting them on a salad, some people might like slices, right? Like this.
But you don't want them too big, because it's really hard to just have a big bite of a strawberry when you're trying to get everything mixed together.
So when you grab a, well, use this as an example. This is basil, not spinach, but we'll use same size leaf.
Okay.
When you go to take a bite of that, what do you got? All strawberry.
Right.
So you want to be mindful to that. Me, I don't like them too big or too small, so I always rip them in half like this and then make slices so that way you can get a good amount. For these big ones, we can cut them down if we want to, and we will just make a small little cut. So now we have more, right? You can go into this if you want, but you said even then that's a chunk of strawberry that you're not wanting to get, right?
And I like the way you took the thicker part and cut it not exactly even, because the end was pretty thin.
Right.
So you want to make it about a similar bite.
Everything wants to be a similar bite, right? You're wanting to make all the slices so that they all turn out relatively the same. Unison.
Someone asked, what kind of cut is that, chef?
This would be a slice. If you were to put a classification on it, it would be like a julienne. And a julienne would be a long, thin cut like such, typically 2 inches long, so like an onion or a bell pepper. But same thing. And then the dice would be like what we did when we put the strawberries into our dressing. We diced them to cut into cubes. And the julienne would be like a slice. And we're going to learn another cut here in just a second.
On the burrata?
No, on the basil.
Basil, okay.
Marianne says hi to the chef.
Hi, Marianne. Now, how many people do you have over at your house tonight? She probably has at least
8.
8?
So we got those. What we're going to do is we're going to learn how to chiffonade. Do you know what a chiffonade is? I didn't think so. Some might, but most don't. So a chiffonade is to roll and to slice very, very thin, so it creates long strands. We're going to want to make sure that we take these stems off of our basil because we don't want those in there. So what we got is our fresh basil leaves here. We're going to stack them on top of each other, just like such. You laughing at me? Is that what you're doing? Oh, they can hear you too. So if you're gonna
No
laugh at me, they
laughing.
know. They're like, who's laughing in the background? That's the camera person.
That would be Daniela today.
That's right.
She's filling in for Aaron. So Daniela, thank you for helping. We also have Casey, Sharon, Mario, Gladys, Catherine is on cooking with us. We have Tom Lacker, Letty, Charity, Sam, another Daniela, Anita, April. Like, we have so many people joining tonight. We're so excited that all of you guys wanted to join.
Absolutely.
We love that.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. All right, so we got all of our basil leaves stacked on top of each other. We're gonna roll this up like this. Not like you guys did back in the day, but. All right, so we have a nice tight roll, and the reason we want to roll it the way that we did is so when we make these slices.
You certainly can cut a lot at once when you do it that way.
So see how we have these
Wow.
long strands? Because that's the whole basil
Right, that's
leaf
great, because it is more pungent.
slice.
Yeah. You know, this is a great cut. If you were just doing the tomato and the mozzarella, I like the basil like that, sliced like that on top, because if you just put the leaf, it's just too much. And we try to chop it, but I actually love this cut for that.
So this is what you would traditionally cut, or how you would cut basil when you're gonna put it into a salad because of that.
I
Because
love that.
it's enough, it's not too much.
Here comes Chef Steve to check it out.
I thought he was looking at the roll for a second. So we're gonna put some of this fresh chiffonade would be the cut,
A shipping
a
out.
chiffonade. And that is to roll into thinly sliced to create long strands like this. So it is the length of the entire leaf, right? That is super thin. So to try to do that, I'll demonstrate real quickly. To try to do that with a leaf like this,
Super hard. I mean, the roll just makes it so much easier.
because I was able to do 20 leaves at one time, as
Right.
opposed to do that for every single one leaf, right? Because as soon as
And
we
it came out better.
soon as we started to stack the leaves up, you wouldn't be able to cut it that well. So we have this in here. We're gonna take some of our vinaigrette. And we're just gonna marinate our strawberries. Get a nice mix on that. Spaghetti.
No, I love that cut. I think that's what we're gonna be using when we make our caprese salad from now on.
Did you put that in the note, Steve? Chiffonade for the caprese salad.
Chiffonade.
All right. So we got those marinating, set that aside. Let's put these in the fridge. Actually.
So good. Oh, while you're in there, maybe we could grab a prosecco.
What's that? Some Prosecco Rosé. Brought to you in part by Kirtland today.
Yes, Steve is gonna grab our champagne glass.
Clean up some of our mess here.
We kind of did this easy tonight. No mixing, no hard liquor that I'm gonna give a funny face for.
A refreshing
A refreshing.
delight for a nice light salad to welcome in the good old Phoenix summer, you know, nothing better.
I feel like we went from winter to summer this year.
It kind of feels that way, doesn't it?
It really does. All right.
Well,
I'm
you
a
know what?
novice,
To have
I'm
the
popping
weather that
these,
we
so
have
Chef is going
In
to do the oven.
February and March, I'm not gonna be mad at it at all. We had excellent weather.
We did. And it's supposed to be a great weekend this weekend.
Yeah,
Looking
cool.
forward to a little bit of cool. So everybody get out there, driving those golf carts,
That's
have
right.
some fun.
Get on them hiking trails while you can.
Just be careful of
Biking
snakes.
trails,
Snakes are out. That is
yeah, they're
correct.
coming out.
So. Excellent. So has anyone else poured this yet? Probably because it's a little bit.
We've
into
been
the-
talking all this
drinking event.
time
I
and
know,
everyone
no.
else has been,
Drinking their champagne.
their thirst needs to be quenched. So I mean, if you wanted to, you can go ahead and drop your fresh strawberry right in there and have a nice little strawberry notes to your Prosecco. Jude and like fresh raspberries are not frozen raspberries or a frozen strawberry. Put it in the bottom, pour this on there and all that.
Oh, that's a good idea too.
Released sugar flavors that so quickly. So it's
So a
almost,
little frozen, you
It's
keep it
almost-
in the freezer.
yeah, it's almost like a mimosa without any of the.
Interesting. Let's see, do I have one there? Oh, we're coming up ground.
What do you got? Mixed berry blend?
Yep.
She's on it.
It's very low. Just because we have to try it, but we would have put it in first normally, right?
Yeah, it'll still be the same.
We're frostbitten, but it's all right, no? Is there anything you say there? They're all like kind of, well, that would be in
This one.
the freezer for a long time. We'll try a sample. Oh, there you go.
So when you put, yeah, when you're putting them in, you can start to see some of that sugar being released. When you start with it, as you pour, it starts to release right away.
Right, so
Yeah.
you put it on the bottom and then do it.
Yeah.
That's a great tip.
Like Valentine's Day is a good way, just put them in there, and then when you're ready, pour it in there and all that.
Excellent. We learn
Nicely.
something new every day. So cheers, everybody. Cheers to you
Cheers.
all. Very refreshing.
Very light, perfect for the salad, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so next, let's get our chickens.
Okay.
Marianne said cheers.
Oh, cheers.
All right, so I don't know what your guys' spice cabinet looks at home, but here on Let's Get Cooking, we have
We have a lot.
quite the cabinet, let me just tell you. So what we're wanting to do is relatively up top. How do we want to season our chicken? I know you like the spice route, right?
Right. Is
So-
this good? Can you do a spice with this?
You
What do
most certainly can do
Oh.
a spice.
Well, then we always like to go the spice route.
So, perfect.
Perfect first thing you grab.
Raspberry chipotle blends very, very well with what
Wow,
we're
that's
gonna
good.
do. Let's just pull out a couple just for fun to show everybody. You can go into, I mean, if you wanna go just strictly Italian, that'll blend well. Let's see if we can find some spice blends in here. Habanero might be a little too hot. You could go, that's Italian-ish. That's this one. I wouldn't wanna go real barbecue like, what's this one? This one's a garlic rub, so you could do a garlic one. Like a herb garlic, if you had like Mrs. Dash. This one right here, this is lemon thyme and pink peppercorn. This would go very well with the salad,
Oh, very good.
very well with the salad. So look at our variety we have here.
And it's such a different flavor.
For everyone you
everything,
choose, yeah,
yeah.
you wanna make sure that, don't get stingy with your spices and don't be afraid to try new things. So, like you said, traditionally, would you think to use something like this? Something that's sweet and spicy and savory all in one. This is gonna bring the salad to the next level. Why? It's because when you take a bite of that chicken, you get a little bit of that heat, the coolness from the strawberry, the fresh creaminess from the burrata. It's gonna blend the palate very, very well.
I like
And
that.
then from the spinach is pretty sweet too, so it's not a bitter lettuce, so it's gonna just very, very well blend. So I saw a hand raise over in the audience over there, so we're gonna go ahead and stick with the raspberry chipotle.
But I like the fact that anything that you have in your pantry,
Let's try combo raspberry and the other.
pink peppercorn, okay,
Yeah, couple with one, couple with the other.
mixing it up, people, so you can do that too. You
Yeah,
can
it's-
try a
it's-
couple little different
The
things.
beauty about cooking is you limit yourself, right? You're controlling the spices, the flavors. If you don't like one or you don't like the other one, you're the one that controls all that. So you want to make sure that, don't be afraid of it. Try it. So I'm just gonna pat down just so it sticks on there. And then I'm gonna flip it over. Remembering not to use your chicken hand to spice hands, keeping your clean hand clean.
Always good to remember that, so thank you for pointing it out, because it's so easy to take that hand and put it over there.
The last thing you want to do is take these fingers and put them back into this jar here, because once you
Right.
do that, cross contamination is a serious thing. And that's how people get hurt, and you'll never suspect the jarred spice to be the thing that got you sick. So you always want to do that. I am a maniac about working with chicken in my house, just because I know what cross contamination is and how crucial it is to be mindful to it, right? So all I did was do a nice little pat down so that way it's gonna give it almost a crust when you go.
Oh, yeah. Like it.
So we're gonna turn our burner on. We're gonna get it going.
And again, how do you feel about the Teflon, the non-stick pan in this application too? Another good one to use it?
For this one, not necessarily gonna be too much different, right?
Okay.
Obviously it helps, but I think that it's not too big of a difference, right? So the main thing is if you're using an all clad pan or an all stainless steel pan, it's about temperature. So you don't want to get it too hot, because the moment you stick anything to it, it's gonna stick to the pan, right? The beauty of the Teflon is it allows it to not stick so much.
Right.
Can it? Yes, it can. But we're gonna sear, and we really want to focus on that sear. That's what we're doing. And we saw a couple classes ago, when you sear chicken and finish it in the oven, even the pork that we did, what a world of difference it makes when you get it to the plate, right?
Absolutely.
So that's a big key.
Big difference.
So we're gonna do a little bit of oil.
Tom has a special seasoning called chicken shit.
Literally chicken shit?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tom, hold it up, your chicken shit.
He sent me pictures.
Oh, I love
That's
it.
awesome. Okay, so we're gonna spread this around so it kind of evenly coats the bottom. We're gonna look for that ripple. See how it's starting to ripple?
Yeah.
That's how we know that we're gonna be hot enough. So grab me a pair of tongs there, Beth, please. There we go. So we'll go first in with the pink lady. Pink peppercorns with lemon and thyme.
These are small little tenderloins, so they're just not gonna need much, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be super fast. This one right here, maybe 6 minutes in the oven.
It's kind of back to one of our comments that we've made along through the years. I always find that boneless chicken, it's hard to keep it moist, but doing the pan searing.
Huge,
Huge
right?
difference.
We sealed in all that moisture. We sealed in all the water content of the muscle, which allows it to stay in there as we cook it.
Right.
As long as we don't overcook it, it'll stay there. And that's what we want, and that's the biggest thing. So The health code is that chicken needs to cook to 165 degrees in order to kill salmonella. Most of health inspectors are going to tell you that you need to cook it to 165, not recognizing that when we pull it out of the oven, it's still gonna climb in temperature, right? So if we pull it out at like 159 and it climbs to that temperature, so if we're cooking at 400 like we are, it's gonna climb to that temperature if we pulled it at 160 or at 157.
Interesting, because it does keep cooking and that's the difference, I think. You don't wanna put, overcooking chicken just makes it dry and tough.
I overcooking everything, right? Technically. So making sure that we're well aware of what we're working with. And like these little guys, they're gonna take so little time. So could you finish this guy right in your pan? Yes, absolutely you could. You could cook these right inside your pan without having to throw them in the oven. It all just depends on what you're trying to do. For me, I would sear, if this is the amount of chicken I was cooking, I would just sear really quick, finish it at 375 degrees for, I would say, I would start at 4 minutes and see where they're at. It might be done in 4 minutes. It might need to take 2 more minutes, 6 minutes, I'd say would be an accurate time.
Also
For
a
these
great
things
meal
to be
for
done.
kids. You were just to do this, season it with whatever you have in the pantry. Hand sear it, and then with kids, maybe a mac and cheese or some sort of a starch, and then a vegetable. You're done.
And,
Very quick.
and it's not deep fried. So talk about chicken tenders, which are the kids' favorites.
Right.
Adding this to be something on their menu that they'll go, oh, that was really good.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because every time, whenever you have kids, you want quick. You want it to be good, quick, and something all the kids like is chicken. And it could be the seasoning they like.
That's the other piece right there. It's probably just the seasoning they like. When it's the chicken tenders, it's the crunchy chicken that they get to dip in the ketchup, right?
Right,
Yeah.
and they can still even dip this into ranch.
Yes, they could just as easily. So making sure that it's versatile, right? That's the
Right.
important piece for that.
Also, something good you could save and warm up very quickly. If someone wanted a quick chicken tenderloin, have it around, it's a great warm up.
So this is a great application to do your meal plan.
Right, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
I would never reheat this in the microwave. If you cook your chicken tender on Sunday and you're eating a salad on Thursday, go right back into the pan with a little bit of water and reheat it in a steam fashion, then to microwave it. Because then we're actually going to rejuvenate the chicken tender the way that we did cook it the first time. By adding that moisture to the pan, allows it to continue to stay moist as you reheat it. The microwave just saps it and turns it into this rubbery mess
Okay.
that we really don't want.
So
So
we have a little trick that we use in our family, and you tell me what you think about our trick. We take this, let's just say we have a little chicken tender, we put it in a little baggie,
mhm.
and that at least it's better than just slapping it in the microwave.
Yes, because what happens is it's containing the moisture,
Exactly.
right? So
So that's a quick cheat.
when you zap it in the microwave, it dries out so quickly, so fast.
Right.
Even if you have a lid for it, still not going to be very productive. So.
Right.
So let's go ahead and get these guys in. I'm going to set a timer for 6 minutes. If we want to go ahead and do our market update at this point, would be a great time.
No, we don't do pita first.
We'll do the pita when we come back
We come back.
after a
Okay.
commercial break.
All right.
The Rider
Commercial.
Elite team.
I think really what's important to start with is we have been carrying about a total of over 50 listings in the Trilogy market, just because we know we have a lot of Trilogy folks on right now. And we've been selling this month. So that number is going down, and we're seeing a lot of buyers still in the market, which, I mean, you'd all be saying it's kind of late in that active adult
In the
season.
season.
Yeah, but we're still selling. We sold 2 this week. We're super excited. So if you still want to do something, there is still some time left, and there's people out there still buying. So Trilogy specifically, we would normally think we're at the end of the season, but it's been strong and really great this April. So, you know, if anybody's looking to make a move up, move down, make a change, any of your friends want to move here, still let us know, because if they don't have a home to sell and they want to be in the Trilogy area, there are choices right now. And even Shay has been discounting some of what they have to build. So give us a call. Don't forget Angela is out there as well. I'm out there anytime that I need to be. So definitely give us a call. We want to make sure that we can help you and all of your friends that come to visit you. And Steve, what were you thinking for today?
You know, I just wanted to mention to a lot of you that are out there, lease satisfaction. We have a program that if you have a son or daughter or a friend or relative that's in a lease in an apartment, and it may be 6 more months or 8 more months to go, this summer, there's gonna be a lot of inventory, and builders, these are called quick move-ins. And builders are gonna discount those homes for people that can move in within the next month or 2. So you go in, you see a quick move in,
Yeah.
you want to take advantage of it, but you're stuck in
a
your
lease.
lease for 7, 8 more months. Give us a call. We have a lease satisfaction program where we can actually satisfy the lease and get you into a new home within 30 to 60 days.
Right, so any of your friends, family that has that situation, grandkids, anyone that you know that's in that situation, we can help with them purchasing their.
Across
first
the
home.
US, guys, we have agents that do builder trade-in that I personally coach in 32 different cities. So if you have people and friends in other cities, let us know and we can definitely take care of them.
Absolutely,
And boy, I'm looking forward to this pita.
yes, it's gonna be great.
Let's go back to the
Yeah.
pita.
All right, let's get back to cooking, shall we? So what I did was I combined our fresh minced garlic
All right,
with some butter, with our herbs, our rosemary, our thyme, and our
that's
parsley.
everything we had left over.
Yep, and we're gonna melt that in the microwave. So that way that is ready to go. When we brush our pitas, we're gonna grab a sheet pan. So we can put these onto our pitas. Let's see, go here. We're gonna, let's clear out some of this space here. So we wanted to let this dough rest for roughly about an hour. We're probably there, pretty close to it anyway. So we want to have a nice clean space. As soon as we can
Get rid of.
Second.
Oh, right on the counter.
A little bit of flour. We want to leave this close by in case we need some more. We're melted.
Oh, it smells
Perfect.
good, perfect, yeah. Delicious.
So this guy, we're gonna want to cut into 6 different size dough balls, so to speak. And that's flour up.
Right, so we don't want sticking.
It'll stick slightly, but once we get it down onto the thing, it should be fine. It's just-
I always think dough looks hard. I think it looks hard to make, so we're all learning here.
Yeah, it's just finicky. You just gotta know what you're doing. Try making matzo balls. That's what I did today. No idea what I'm doing. But we,
How are they looking?
they actually turned out good, so.
That was our timer on our chicken. Should we pull that out?
Yep, you can pull that guy out. You can just set those right up on top there.
Delicious.
You say you need to roll it. I'm thinking just doing the old tortilla project might be the best for this guy. Might need to rise a little more. So let's just ball it back up. About a 1/4 inch thick is what I'm looking for here. It's probably about that there. So then if you want to turn our pan on there, Beth.
This
Yep, turn it on to a nice medium heat.
They are a little finicky,
Sticky.
sticky. Now, typically, would you need a little more time to let it rise?
The recipe says an hour, so we were pretty much right on that time. So I'm just gonna work a little more flour into it. So when we go to make our little dough. So definitely flour is your friend with this one.
Mhm.
This is what it looks like. And there was just take a nice little pinch.
Does anybody else have any photos for us while we're kind of working these? How's it going for you? Anything sticking? Is it all working great? What is yours? What do your pitas look like right now?
There, that's right.
Kelly, do we have anything showing up there?
Any questions so far? We got a quiet group
I
today,
know.
actually.
Where's all the people with the questions?
So let's start with these guys.
I guess a more important question is who's already starting a second bottle of Prosecco? That's always the question.
You sent them too.
No, we sent everybody one, but we know they all have it at home.
Sharon says she's enjoying this presentation.
Oh, good. Thank you.
So a little bit of oil. We're gonna need a spatula for this guy. Right here.
Is avocado oil your preferred oil, chef?
It all depends on our application, right? So this is one that's held in the pantry, so whatever you guys hold in the pantry. You can olive oil if you want. It's not really gonna change the flavor too much. Olive oil is pungent. So it's all depends on applications when we're making our dressings, depending on what dressings we're making. Do we want to use olive oil or do we not want to use olive oil, right? So that's really how that kind of boils down, actually.
You really can only do one at a time.
For this process, yeah. But they go quickly, so it's about 1 to 2 minutes aside. So this one, what we're looking for is we're looking for the bubble.
I
to
see the bubbles.
Start to rise here. And then we're gonna give it a flip. And then we'll do kind of the same thing again. Making sure that our pan's not too hot, but hot enough, right? That's kind of the key. So you can
now
see
you
how
know
it's
why you
you
see
can-
it bubbled in the store,
right. Because well, and I was
because that's how they do it.
telling them earlier, is that in the store it's on like a hot ceramic like kiln type thing
Oh,
that they just smack it to there and it's so hot like pizza dough. It's at such a high temperature is why it creates that charredness. The caramelization from the flour happens so quickly. Yeah.
got it.
So this one's gonna be about same thing, 1 to 2 minutes, and then we're gonna flip it over for one more time to see if it needs to cook a little bit more. As you saw when this was cooking, we'll just do it when we do another one. You see how the dough changes colors from the way we can see it, which means it is cooking through, right? That's what we're looking for.
I have it on medium.
Yep. We're just gonna turn up slightly for a minute. Get our pan a little bit hotter, so when we do our second one, it'll have a better reaction for when we go and we add to it, right? So you can see it starting to bubble again on this side, coming up on these little spots here.
What else can you pair pitas with, chef?
Hummus.
Shawarma, yeah. Hummus is a great one. Pesto.
There's usually the Greek, like the Greek sandwich, or right? How do you do it?
The gyro, yeah.
Gyro.
So tzatziki sauce with lamb or chicken. Even take hummus right here on this, spread it around, little roasted bell peppers,
Love that.
cut it, there you go. You can just use it to tear and to dip and eat. It's pretty versatile, actually. Like I said, almost like a pizza dough. So you can kind of do really whatever you want to it. It's endless, right? So then we'll take a look at that other side. The other side looks pretty good as well. Let's go ahead and let's pop this guy off. We're gonna add a smidget of oil again, just a little bit. There's some in there, but not a whole lot. But since we saw that this dough is so sticky, we want to make sure that.
Definitely have the oil down.
And as you spread it around to make sure that it'll capture it all. So while that guy's going, I'll get our garlic herb butter here. Give a nice little spread of this on there. I don't want to go too crazy. Unless you like heavy garlic, then go crazy as you want to. But it's just to add a little bit of flavor to it as it comes off of the hot flame. And you smell the freshness. So you saw with that heat a little bit hotter, a little quicker. That's what we're looking for, is that quick and fast, right? So it does cook it quickly. One more, and then we'll build a salad, and then we'll let everybody eat. Why not finish pitas? We could probably sneak another one in there. How we doing at home, everyone? Anybody got any questions? Everyone pitaing away so far?
Thought I would start this last one. Do you want me to just,
Little flour, yeah, and then mix all the flour in there.
one or two? This is supposed to be one or two.
I would say cut that in half, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You look like a pro.
I'm learning.
She is a
Getting
professional,
it done.
professional realtor making pitas.
I feel like the Italian's coming out.
I like it. Mama's making pitas.
All right. There you go.
You killed that, Beth.
We were quick.
Did you use a Castrol? What's it called? The skillet for it?
Can you use a cast iron pan?
Yeah.
You probably could. You'll just need to be leery about is hot the temperature, right? And you probably have to use a little more oil in there, but you'd get a great result out of it, that's for sure.
Wow, how's everybody's pitas turning out? Those look delicious.
Garlic.
Everybody's really liking the pita bread.
Everyone's like that? It's really pretty simple, but like I said, once you get in and learn and see, it's making modifications as you go, so it's not always following the recipe to the T and then you give up and say, oh, it's not working, right?
Right.
You gotta be versatile. You gotta be able to adapt and make changes, and that's the whole purpose of why we do what we do here.
That boy out again. Douse it with flour and throw it in there.
Yeah.
That's sort of the plan. Oops.
I think that's good, yeah.
I'll bring that up.
So as we're working on those, getting those finished up, I got a bowl here for our spinach. What I like to do is I like to toss the dressing with whatever lettuce we're using first a little bit to just give it a nice little coat. And then I like to, just depends on how much, then give it a little topping, if I may. So I pulled some of these big stems off of the spinach leaves, so then that way you're not chunking on a tree branch while you're trying to enjoy your salad.
That always sounds good.
Yeah.
No
Sometimes,
tree branches.
sometimes they're bad, sometimes they're not, but I just try to pull some of the big ones off so that way it's not, like you said, you're not chewing and wondering why your salad is crunchier than you wanted it to be.
Wendy asked if there's no need to knead the pita bread.
If there's no need to do that,
No need to need it.
We didn't really need, or did we? Did you need it a little bit?
I mean, I needed it, but I was using the fork per se, so. We were working it, once we got going, we figured the fork was gonna do just the same and actually worked a little bit better because then as you saw how sticky it was for the hands. So working with the. Working with the flour in order to keep it not so sticky was something that, as we got into it, that it needed that flour in order for it not to stick to the countertop, to your hands. So kneading it it's not like a regular dough because it wasn't as elastic as like pizza dough would be, or like bread dough would be, or pasta dough, where it's super elasticity. So it's stretchy, right? And it combines together. So it stays together, it's bound together a lot more. So you don't have to use as much flour. This, you saw it just tacks and it sticks because of the ingredients that we used. So making sure that you kept using the flour to help it from sticking to itself as much as it did. A little more oil here. That's just to finish up this bottom one. Okay, so then we will baritons. We got our spinach in the bowl.
I feel like it makes you less afraid of making the pita now because it didn't seem that as complicated as I thought it would be.
Right, as it
How you
makes,
guys
as
feel?
it may
They
seem, right?
Right.
And as you saw, once we did the first one, we realized, oh, okay, we gotta adjust and we gotta modify it real quick to make it like this. So then here we go. Another thing, when we're making dressings, in order to taste your dressing to see where you want it to be, you never taste it with just a spoon or by itself. You always taste it with the lettuce that you're going to be eating it with. So
Oh,
if we were making ours and we're like, oh, is there enough sugar in here? Is it's too acidic? What's going on? Always take the lettuce you're working with and taste it like that, because it'll taste differently on the lettuce than it will if you just taste it with a spoon.
that's good to know.
So then there's that. So then we'll go with our,
Kind of our pre-tossed
yeah,
spinach base,
because then it's light, right?
right?
As opposed to trying to eat it all and then everything doesn't have dressing, and then all of a sudden you get some dressing and then you're beating up your salad essentially, trying to get it all there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then we get into the burrata. Who all out there is familiar with this cheese? The burrata.
I want to understand what's really the difference between this and a mozzarella ball,
So they're the same,
but different.
but totally different.
And that's what we want to know, because we had trouble finding the burrata. And we could find mozzarella and not the burrata, and a couple people did get some mozzarella to explain the difference.
So I'll show you here. in just a
And you'll
second.
show, I think that, I'm gonna guess what the difference is. The inside of the burrata is gonna be softer.
So it's two different types of mozzarella.
Okay,
Right,
makes sense.
so-
So it is all in fact mozzarella.
Yeah, so.
Do we need a small thing?
so-
Bring that back.
So on the outside is the firm ricotta,
Yep.
but on the inside is soft ricotta. Or mozzarella.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
mozzarella, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's very different than just the mozzarella. Oh,
Right?
and is that just part of the making process, the creation of it? That
This
you leave
is
it
before this.
So it's almost like before it's all this, all the outside.
Yep.
Okay,
So it's the soft part before you make this. So then they start to make this and put this inside, ball it up and then finish it.
okay, I learned something new. Did you guys learn something? new today?
Interesting, huh?
It is interesting.
So then.
First, we gotta
Plating
plate
is
it.
plating, right? Go around. almonds.
Then we
And
put
there
it,
we
you
go.
like cut the pita, put it on the side. Wow, that looks delicious.
There you go.
And that's
Your
a wrap.
nice start to summer with your strawberry burrata salad on a bed of spinach and our homemade fresh herb pita.
Wow. Delicious.
Good.
And we have another chef night coming up as we kind of wind down halfway through the year, May 30th. What are we making May 30th?
May
are
30th,
doing
we are gonna
halibut.
do a halibut on papio.
Ooh.
So we're gonna be cooking halibut in
In
paper.
paper.
Something that's a classical technique of cooking. I want to show you guys that it's not as intimidating as it may seem. And the way that we're gonna do it, you're gonna go, how come I haven't been making fish like this forever? And that's the goal for that.
That's exciting. And we're keeping it light.
Yep.
It's gonna be warm. That's gonna be right before Memorial Day weekend.
Mhm.
So that will be a lot of fun too. So thank you all for joining. We appreciate it. We love working with all of you. And Chef Jude,
Thank you.
thank you for
Yeah, absolutely.
participating. We love doing it. And give us a call if there's anything we can help you with. Have a great evening.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.